Ocho, Angel Reese got suspended for the first half of a game, saying her teammates suck. The Sky made a statement saying, the Chicago Sky values the safety, respect, and well-being of every player. We are committed to accountability so our players can stay focused on playing basketball. Because of the statements detrimental to the team made by Angel Reese during a league-mandated media, she will not play in the first half of the game September 7th against the Las Vegas Aces. This matter has been handled and resolved internally, and we're moving forward as a team. Now, mind you, she's suspended for a game because she picked up her 8th technical foul. So, and I think that's tonight. That was tonight, right? She was suspended tonight, and now she's suspended the first half against the Aces on the 7th to be Monday, correct?
Dang.
Yeah. Sunday. Yeah. Sunday. My bad. Sunday. Look. Angel expressed her dissatisfaction with the state of the franchise, is what she said. I like to be here for my career, but if things don't pan out, obviously I might have to move in a different direction and do what's best for me. But while I'm here, I'm going to try to stay open-minded about what I have here and maximize that as much as I can. She then called out specific teammates by name and expressing her desire for Marsh to coach the team harder. She was quoted multiple times saying, "We need great players." She also questioned whether Courtney Vandersloot was capable of returning to form at the age she's at after tearing an ACL 7 games into the season. We need someone probably a little younger with some experience, somebody who's been playing the game and willing to compete for a championship and has done it before. Damn, man.
Shit. hey, most of the time too, Unc, with someone like that, someone as young as Angel, who's coming to the game that has great passion, who's good. There are certain things that you can think, but you never say out loud. Especially when it's talking about your teammates. The teammates that you see all the time, teammates that have grinded with you through training camp, the teammates that obviously go to war with you on the court, on the hardwood. And
welcome back to the channel, and before we dive in, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. We're breaking down one of the most shocking storylines in women's basketball, and trust me, you don't want to miss our future deep dives into the drama, the strategy, and the behind-the-scenes power moves shaping the WNBA. Subscribing means you'll stay ahead of the headlines, and you'll always have the real story while others are still trying to catch up. So go ahead, subscribe, and let's get into it. Now, let's talk about what's happening inside the Chicago Sky locker room, because things have gone from promising to absolutely chaotic. Angel Reese, the player the franchise banked its future on, has now become the center of controversy, not just with her opponents, but within her own team. For weeks, whispers were building that Reese's behavior was wearing thin. Then it exploded into the open when she broke one of the most sacred codes in sports: the locker room code. Instead of keeping disagreements internal, Reese went public, criticizing her own teammates, names like Courtney Vandersloot, Rachel Banham, Haley Van Lyth, and Ariel Atkins. These are not fringe players. These are veterans and contributors who carry weight in that locker room. Calling them out didn't just ruffle feathers, it lit a firestorm. What's worse, it wasn't just one careless comment. It was a pattern, a steady drumbeat of frustration that Reese chose to broadcast, and it left her teammates in an impossible position. The move sent shockwaves through the WNBA. In professional sports, you protect the team first, no matter what's going on behind closed doors. The second you take it public, the trust begins to crack. And for the Sky, that's exactly what happened. The unity they needed to push through a competitive season dissolved into open tension, and the spotlight turned inward. Instead of headlines about wins and playoff pushes, the story became about Reese versus her own locker room. And here's the real kicker. This wasn't supposed to happen. The Chicago Sky had gambled everything on Angel Reese. They restructured the roster around her, moving pieces, trading away talent, and doubling down on the belief that she could be the franchise cornerstone. One of the biggest moves, shipping out Sonia Citron, a young player with upside, in exchange for Ariel Atkins. The idea was simple. Surround Reese with proven veterans, give her the support, and watch the team grow. But instead of unity, what the Sky got was division. The gamble backfired. Instead of a roster built for cohesion, the team looked fractured, unsure, and increasingly frustrated with the player at the center of it all.
Chicago, her teammates read the quotes, saw the newspaper article, and were very upset. And they had a meeting yesterday where Angel Reese had to apologize and start backpedaling. And then I think this is from Front Office Sports reporting about Angel Reese and the reaction and the fallout in Chicago. Angel Reese's motor, rebounding, and defense have been heralded by executives and coaches across the league. But multiple league sources told Front Office Sports their view is that some franchises will weigh her skills on the court against her conduct off of it. Fascinating. They're talking about her conduct off it. What are they talking about? They're talking about a woman that disappeared for 3 weeks with a mysterious back injury. Remember when I was talking like Angel Reese, this absence doesn't make sense, this whole back deal, and she can't play for 3 weeks. They're telling you, they're giving you an indication of like, hey man, it doesn't add up to us either. It doesn't add up to the Chicago Sky. Angel Reese is throwing a tantrum and disappeared on the Chicago Sky, or took a mental health break, or pretended a back injury. And I'm just telling you, go look at the history of Angel Reese. I'm going to play for my home state team in Maryland. I'm going to do it for Maryland, y'all. Going got tough. Angel got going. I'm going to transfer to LSU and play for Kim Mulkey and a super team and snatch me a ring and troll Caitlin Clark. What happened the next year after winning that championship? Angel Reese, the start of that season in Kim Mulkey's doghouse, suspended or something went on at the beginning of that season. They don't repeat as national champions. This is Angel Reese.
When Angel Reese went after her teammates publicly, she might have thought her words would go unchecked, but the reaction told a very different story. Her teammates didn't just brush it off, they clapped back, and they did it in ways that revealed just how fed up the locker room had become. Courtney Vandersloot, one of the most respected veterans in the game, didn't hold back when defending herself. She reminded everyone of her legacy, her years of leadership, and the fact that she's been winning long before Angel Reese ever stepped foot into the league. For Vandersloot, it wasn't just about defending her name, it was about protecting what she had built and making it clear that she wasn't going to be disrespected by a younger teammate still learning the ropes. Then there was Ariel Atkins, the very player Chicago brought in to steady the ship. Her response was telling. Instead of firing back with anger, Atkins emphasized the importance of unity. She made it clear that the team's strength had to come from working together, not tearing each other apart. It was a subtle but powerful way of saying that Reese's approach was the exact opposite of what the team needed. Rachel Bannum, meanwhile, didn't sugarcoat her feelings. After years in the league, she showed signs of fatigue, not just with the grind of basketball, but with Reese's constant drama. Her reaction carried the weight of someone who had seen enough and didn't have the patience for another round of off-court chaos. It was the body language, the tone, the clear message that she was tired of it all that spoke louder than words. The responses made one thing crystal clear. Angel Reese had crossed a line, and the locker room was no longer going to cover for her. What had once been silent frustration was now out in the open, and the tension didn't stay off the court. It bled directly into how the Sky were performing on it. Because here's the truth. Reese wasn't just stirring drama in the media, she was hurting the team with her play. The technical fouls piled up. Her constant back and forth with referees put Chicago in tough spots game after game. Eventually, those outbursts caught up with her in the form of suspensions, leaving the Sky short-handed at the worst possible times. And then came the injury narrative. Reese started missing games with a vague back issue, and more often than not, she didn't even travel with the team. To the fans, it looked like a red flag. To her teammates, it felt like abandonment. The message was loud and clear. When things got tough, Reese wasn't there to fight through it. This was the turning point. A team that had been built to rally around her was suddenly forced to adjust without her. And that's when the real story started to unfold. Because Chicago didn't just survive her absences, they actually looked better without her.
Show y'all this video. As you can see, she's just walking off. She don't have a back brace or anything like that. Still in street clothes. I don't think she even shot the ball today, man. She is just clearly done, man. She is done. I don't know how anybody could take this and say, nah, man, she still want to play for the team. She still want to get out there on the floor. I don't know how anybody can say that. Who would still be saying that? You got Tyler Marsh, man. Tyler Marsh. I mean, this man is out here in his full Superman costume, cape and all, doing Angel Reese gymnastics in his head to try to make sure she don't sound like a bad player, man. I commend her, man. Hey, do what you need to do to make sure your players don't sound like bad teammates. He keeping it in that locker room. This man is strategically media trained, all right? Let's go ahead and listen to what he had to say.
Yeah, we speak. I mean, we speak every day. I think that it's, it's more just making sure that she's checking on her body, seeing how she's feeling day to day, and just kind of keep it moving from there. It wasn't miscommunication. I think that, again, it was probed off of how she was feeling in the warm-ups. Kind of happened the same thing going into game one against Vegas. I think the expectation across the board was that she was going to play, but then obviously, her back pain, just too much to kind of push it in the situation that we're in now. So it just didn't make sense. So we want to be overly cautious. I think it's been a disappointing season from an injury standpoint for sure across the board with our team, and so I don't think that that's anything different with Angel. I think she wants to be out there. She's a competitor. She wants to fight. She wants to compete. So anytime you're not able to do that at full strength individually.
When Angel Reese was off the floor, something surprising started to happen. The Chicago Sky actually looked freer. Reports from beat writers and analysts highlighted that the offense flowed smoother, ball movement picked up, and the team's energy was higher. Players who seemed hesitant when Reese was in the lineup suddenly played with confidence and rhythm. It was the kind of contrast that fans and media couldn't ignore. Stat sheets told the story even more bluntly. Despite missing weeks of action, Reese somehow managed to lead the WNBA in turnovers. That's almost unheard of. Her efficiency was low, her shot selection questionable, and yet her demands on the roster kept growing louder. She wanted the team built around her, but the results just weren't backing it up. Instead of lifting the Sky, she was dragging them into a cycle of frustration. Meanwhile, teammates were no longer willing to cover for her mistakes. Early in the season, you'd hear the usual sound bites. "We'll figure it out. We're all learning together. We've got her back." But as the drama mounted, those cliches started disappearing. Players grew blunt. They spoke about accountability, about discipline, about sticking to the system. And everyone could read between the lines. Those words were directed straight at Reese. The breaking point came when trust inside the locker room fractured completely. In sports, once teammates feel like you're more focused on yourself than the group, it's almost impossible to win them back. And that's exactly where Reese found herself. Every suspension, every public comment, every missed road trip chipped away at the bond. By the time the Sky hit the midpoint of the season, the damage was done. It wasn't just the players noticing either. The front office was watching closely, and eventually, they had to act. That's when Chicago made its strongest statement yet, disciplining Angel Reese for conduct detrimental to the team. It was the clearest sign that the franchise had shifted priorities. They weren't going to let her star power outweigh chemistry. They weren't going to sacrifice the rest of the roster's buy-in just to appease one player. This move shook the league because it showed that Chicago was willing to risk alienating their supposed cornerstone to protect the culture. And in the WNBA, where locker room dynamics are everything, that choice might end up defining the Sky's. And the Angel Reese saga didn't exist in a vacuum. Around the league, people couldn't help but compare her trajectory with another young star, Caitlin Clark. And the contrast couldn't have been sharper. While Reese was racking up technicals, clashing with teammates, and drawing discipline from her front office, Clark was steadily building her reputation as the ultimate team-first leader in Indiana. She took accountability for mistakes, praised her teammates in every interview, and embraced the grind of carrying a young roster through the ups and downs of a season. The Fever weren't perfect. They had their own growing pains, but with Clark at the helm, you could see the vision. Every game, every practice, she set the tone by putting the team above her own spotlight. That mentality lifted Indiana, not just in the standings, but in credibility. Opponents respected her, teammates trusted her, fans rallied around her. And when you put those two storylines side by side, the optics for Angel Reese looked even worse. Instead of embodying leadership, Reese projected toxicity. Instead of building trust, she fractured it. Instead of being the reason the sky climbed higher, she became the reason they stumbled. That's why analysts and insiders started asking the uncomfortable question, has Reese already become the sky's biggest liability? It wasn't just about her numbers, it was about her presence. Chicago looked better without her on the court. The locker room was calmer without her voice dominating it. The offense flowed when she wasn't forcing plays. Everything pointed in the same direction, and it was hard to ignore. For a franchise that had gone all in, it was a devastating realization. They had gambled on Angel Reese being the centerpiece of their rebuild, and in return, they got drama, division, and a team that often played its best basketball when she was sidelined. So, where does this leave Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky? Honestly, on shaky ground. What was supposed to be a long-term partnership built around her talent and personality is now clouded by doubt. The front office already showed they're willing to discipline her, teammates have made it clear they're no longer covering for her, and the fans are split. Some still see the potential and the star power, but many are asking if the drama is even worth it. The trust that once held this experiment together is fractured, maybe beyond repair. If a team doesn't believe in its leader, the season becomes a constant uphill climb, and that's exactly the wall Chicago keeps running into. For a franchise that reshaped its roster, traded away promising youth like Sonia Citron, and put faith in surrounding Reese with experienced veterans, this has to feel like a nightmare scenario. And the reality is, Reese's future with the Sky is far from guaranteed. In professional sports, franchises make tough decisions all the time. If they believe a player has become more of a liability than an asset, no amount of highlight plays or jersey sales can save them. Chemistry wins championships, and Chicago has finally admitted they value that more than one player's star power. Compare that to Caitlin Clark in Indiana, and the contrast becomes even more glaring. Clark is embodying everything Reese was supposed to be, a rising star who lifts her teammates, puts accountability first, and creates a foundation for growth. That's the exact image Chicago thought they were buying into with Reese. Instead, they're left questioning if they bet on the wrong leader. So as the season moves forward, all eyes are on one question. Can Angel Reese adjust, repair relationships, and reshape her narrative? Or has she already cemented herself as the Sky's biggest liability, with her long-term role in Chicago slipping away game by game? One thing is certain, this story is far from over.